Like I said earlier, I mean, we know everything they're trying to run.
How do you guys know everything they're trying to run? Because of her right here with her hand on her damn face. That's how y'all know everything they're trying to run, because she damn me cheated. She came in, she was a spy, and she leaked everything. She cheated. That's how y'all know. You wouldn't know shit if it wasn't for DeWanna Bonner.
The WNBA's $50 million offer to Caitlin Clark wasn't just a contract. It was about control. It was the league's way of saying, "You're ours. We'll own your spotlight, your influence, your future." But Clark's response was devastatingly simple: no. That one word flipped the power dynamic on its head. For years, WNBA players have been expected to take whatever deal came their way, grateful just to have a seat at the table.
I gotta admit, the end of the Fever Mercury game made me sit up for a second, because it got a little spicy with Caitlin Clark having an interaction with DeWanna Bonner out on the middle of the floor, sort of waving her back to the bench. I mean, the rest of the game was following a familiar script where the Fever fall behind and they fight back and they show the grit, but they lose to a team that has more talent than them at this point in time. But that interaction stood out to me for a couple of reasons. I mean, number one, obviously, is the history there, where DeWanna Bonner was on the Fever for a cup of coffee and then winds up on the Mercury. That after, before the season, Caitlin Clark said she wanted to win a ring for her.
Clark shattered that tradition. She showed that in today's sports economy, real power doesn't sit in the commissioner's office. It sits with the athletes who know their worth. And Clark knows hers. Endorsements from Nike, Gatorade, and State Farm are worth far more than any league check. Every time she hits a three from the logo, clips rack up millions of views.
Pissed off, man. I'm pissed off. This is trash, bruh. DeWanna Bonner, who you think you is? Who you think you is trying to walk up on Caitlin Clark like that? Who you think you are? You ain't nothing but a scammer, a quitter, and a traitor. You got me twisted. I don't know who you think you are walking up on the GOAT talking crazy. You was just acting like a mentor to her when we brought you in. Us fans never even wanted your... Oh my God, we never even wanted your...
Every game she plays, ticket prices spike and arenas sell out. She's not just a player. She's a one-woman economy. That's why turning down $50 million wasn't reckless. It was calculated. Why tie herself to a struggling league when her brand is bigger than the league itself? Inside locker rooms across the WNBA, players took notice. If Caitlin can walk away from the biggest offer in league history, why are the rest of us settling for scraps? Suddenly, Clark's rejection became more than a contract dispute. It became a blueprint for empowerment. For the commissioner, this was an ego-crushing moment.
But Caitlin Clark's obviously saying something to the referee, and DeWanna Bonner is saying challenge. Is saying challenge or something, because it wasn't being challenged. Basically, I'm guessing DeWanna Bonner is saying basically if it's not a foul, challenge call. And eventually, Caitlin Clark midway brushes off DeWanna Bonner.
Imagine planning the biggest surprise party of your career, only to have the guest of honor not even show up. That's how this felt. The league thought they were securing their future. Instead, they exposed just how fragile it is. Because here's the truth, the WNBA doesn't make Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark makes the WNBA matter. The irony is brutal. By rejecting the league's richest deal ever, Clark didn't weaken her image, she made herself bigger. She turned down $1.5 million per game and still came out looking like the smartest person in the room. The league thought they were offering her the world.
We got DeWanna Bonner, who was complete trash. She was a complete bum while she was wearing the Indiana Fever jersey. This lady was shooting threes, hitting the side of the backboard. She was trash while she was in Indiana Fever. We had to pull strings and pull teeth to help her break a record. We had to do all types of stuff to help her break the record. And you got the nerve to try to talk crazy to Caitlin Clark? Who the hell you think you is? DeWanna Bonner? Wasn't nobody watching your games? Nobody even knew who you was. Nobody even knew you. Stop it.
She reminded them she already owns it. And that's the real story. Clark didn't just say no to $50 million. She redefined what it means to have options. She showed that in modern sports, gratitude doesn't pay the bills, leverage does. The WNBA needs Caitlin Clark far more than Caitlin Clark needs the WNBA. And she proved it with one simple, devastating word. No, leadership in professional sports isn't just about scoring points, it's about knowing when to rise above the moment. On September 2, 2025, during a matchup between the Phoenix Mercury and the Indiana Fever, veteran forward DeWanna Bonner reminded everyone how difficult that can be.
19 points for DB. Comes to the squad, leaves disrespectfully, and the last 2 times we've seen her, she's been rubbing our nose in it. Yes, I left you. What are you gonna do about it? Not a damn thing, because your head coach is soft and weak and not a real coach. Your head coach quit on the Connecticut Sun, so I'm quitting on her. Sorry.
Bonner, a 5-time All-Star nearing the twilight of her career, had been quietly struggling for much of the season. But against Indiana, she finally looked sharp, putting up 19 points, her best outing in months. It should have been a feel-good night for the veteran. Instead, it turned into a headline for all the wrong reasons. Midway through the third quarter, after a foul call went against Indiana, Bonner walked toward the Fever bench and began jawing in the direction of Caitlin Clark, who wasn't even suited up, sidelined with a groin injury. Clark, dressed in black sweats, rose from her seat and waved Bonner off, repeating firmly that it wasn't a foul. The exchange was brief, but the body language said it all, Bonner trying to rattle the Fever's young superstar, Clark dismissing her with ease. The moment was symbolic.
I don't even care about you not playing in Indiana no more. It's just like the way you did this shit, man. You sat out, stopped coming to work, walked out of your $200K contract, all of this shit, stayed at home wherever the fuck you were because you weren't scissoring enough with Alyssa Thomas, man. And then to sit up here and grant her wish to go and scissor with her lover on another team, this would never happen in the NBA. This is why I have such a hard time respecting this women's basketball shit to the full degree, because no other league around the world in sports does shit like this.
Clark, just 22, has already become the face of the WNBA, selling out arenas and driving record TV ratings. Bonner, 37, represents the old guard, respected, accomplished, but no longer the center of attention. And in that timeout huddle, under the bright lights, the clash between eras played out in real time. Clark's refusal to back down, even while injured, drew cheers from Fever fans who have embraced her as the heartbeat of the franchise. Bonner, meanwhile, was escorted back to her bench, looking more flustered than fierce.
DeWanna Bonner, you're a sore loser. You're obviously not a competitor. You were brought in as a vet and expected your tenure to be able to save your starting spot, even though you haven't been able to deliver, because you're not the same DeWanna Bonner you were fucking 5-6 years ago. You want to have a stank-ass, nasty attitude because the girls around you are better than you, younger than you, and are playing better? Take your piss-poor attitude on. The Indiana Fever locker room doesn't need that. You're not owed a spot in the WNBA on a roster because of your tenure. You're not owed a spot on the roster because you're one of the vets that laid the foundation. Veterans always want to talk about how they want to protect the league and how they want to set the league up and they want to take care of it and leave it better for the next generation. Putting the best players on the floor.
To her credit, Bonner still had a strong game, and the Mercury came away with an 85-79 victory. But the storyline that lingered wasn't about Phoenix's win. It was about Clark's poise, her ability to command respect even when she wasn't on the court, and Bonner's inability to accept that the spotlight in women's basketball has shifted. For the Fever, the loss dropped them to 21-20, clinging to playoff positioning. For the league, though, the bigger takeaway was clear: Caitlin Clark's presence is so powerful that she doesn't even need to play to change the narrative. When Caitlin Clark joined the Indiana Fever, she didn't just bring her scoring touch, she brought national attention the WNBA hadn't seen in decades.
Yeah, you're coming for the wrong one, ma'am. You need to be worried about those rusty knees of yours with that WD-40. You hear me? You need WD-40 in them knees. You're old, you was complaining about running up and down, running a fast-paced offense because you said it makes you tired. Okay, you almost 40. If you don't want to play up to your best and be great, I think you need to go find another team. You hear me? And clearly you did. You snaked your way out of the possibilities of probably winning another.
Sellout crowds, TV records, corporate sponsors, suddenly women's basketball was front-page news. But not everyone has embraced life in Clark's shadow. Veteran forward DeWanna Bonner, who briefly played for Indiana before forcing her way out, has struggled with that reality. Once celebrated as a steady leader, Bonner's exit from the Fever left a sour taste with both fans and players. She walked away after just 9 games, citing fit issues, but many suspected it was jealousy. Clark's rapid rise had shifted the spotlight, and Bonner wasn't ready to share it. Fast forward to September 2nd, 2025. Phoenix versus Indiana. Bonner, now with the Mercury, finally put together a strong night, 19 points, her best showing in months.
One of the only entertaining parts about this game, though, was when a timeout was called, and then DeWanna Bonner and Caitlin Clark had some words. It was right after a foul was called, and I believe it actually was a foul. Either way, Caitlin Clark went out there defending her teammates, shooing off DeWanna Bonner when DeWanna Bonner was finger twirling.
Then you see Caitlin Clark to the right behind the coach coming out and jawing at DeWanna Bonner. DeWanna Bonner says, yeah, it was a foul. And Clark is saying, no foul. Yes, it was a foul.
But again, props to Kelsey Mitchell for coming away with 29 points, not letting this.
But instead of letting her play speak, she turned her attention to the Fever bench. During a third-quarter timeout, Bonner jawed in Clark's direction, despite the rookie sensation being sidelined with a groin injury. Clark's response was simple, but powerful. She rose from her seat, waved Bonner off, and told her flatly, "It's not a foul." The exchange lasted only seconds, but the contrast was striking. Bonner looked agitated. Clark looked calm, dismissive, in control, even from the bench. It wasn't just a sideline spat. It symbolized the tension between the old guard and the new wave of women's basketball. Bonner, a respected veteran whose career is winding down, seemed frustrated that the game has moved on. Clark, just 22, has become the face of the sport, embodying the energy and growth the league has long been chasing.
Clark, yeah, man, Caitlin Clark told her, beat it, bum. Beat it. Beat it. You trash. You a quitter. And you a thief. You stole money from the Indiana Fever. You a thief in the night, DeWanna Bonner. You got some nerve trying to talk crazy to Caitlin Clark. She the only reason half the people even know you. Nobody knew you throughout your career. Wasn't nobody watching your games. I ain't never seen nobody in a DeWanna Bonner shirt. Nobody knew you, man. You got
Fever fans haven't forgotten how Bonner left Indiana. They remember the sudden absence, the personal reasons, the lack of communication. They remember the disappointment of seeing a veteran they trusted walk away just as the team was entering a new era. And now, to see her try to intimidate Clark, the very player fueling that new era, only deepened the divide. The truth is, when Clark is on the floor, Indiana looks like a completely different team. They're competitive, energized, and dangerous. Without her, they've struggled, falling to 21-20 after the Phoenix loss. Bonner's 19 points might have carried her team that night, but fans know the outcome would likely have been different if Clark were healthy.
Bonner won on this. Caitlin can't talk from the bench. When you quit on a team like DeWanna Bonner did, anyone can talk. Anyone can talk no matter what. When you quit like DeWanna Bonner did, everyone has the right to talk. I mean that. Everyone has the right to talk when you quit like DeWanna Bonner did on the Fever. Absolutely. Absolutely. Anyone has the right to talk. You don't just quit on a team on a personal level. It isn't basketball. Doing what DeWanna Bonner did and not even texting the team when she did it, that's not basketball.
And that's what makes the scene so telling. A 37-year-old veteran, once a cornerstone of the league, trying to flex on a 22-year-old star who has already transformed the business of women's basketball. It underscored the generational divide, one clinging to relevance, the other defining the future. Clark's reaction, firm, poised, and unapologetic, resonated far beyond the Fever bench. It was leadership without even touching the ball. It was a reminder that real influence doesn't come from cheap shots or veteran seniority.
She felt like she couldn't fit with the rotations of the team. She's upset that Lexi Hall took her spot. That's the truth. Little blonde girl from next door took her spot. That's what it was. Well, Lexi Hall is a good basketball player. I think she earned that spot, in my opinion, and she's shooting very well from the three. She's an excellent three-point shooter this season. She's a sniper this season. And she hustles, she gets rebounds, she gets steals. She puts her heart out.
It comes from respect, earned night after night. For the WNBA, the question is bigger than Bonner versus Clark. What kind of league does it want to be? One that protects old grudges and petty feuds, or one that empowers the stars who are actually growing the game?
But this version of DeWanna Bonner was not the version of DeWanna Bonner that was on the Indiana Fever. And, you know, kind of like sucks to see because she essentially did quit on the team with a lot of people excited that she was on the team. Like, I remember Kelsey Mitchell saying, I have the best vet in the world in DeWanna Bonner. I remember Caitlin Clark saying, I really want to win a chip for DeWanna Bonner, knowing that she's in, like, you know, the moonlight of her career. So it does feel like there are a lot of personal feelings when going up against Bonner, when going up against